What's up, guys? How we all doing today? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Today's video, we're back with a kind of a think about it video. It's just something to kind of think about, but it's going to talk today about never underestimate your enemies. So stay tuned for that. All right. Never underestimate your enemies. And I heard this from somebody talking, and he just said, "Never underestimate your enemies." And I thought, you know what, that's true. As I was kind of going through some Facebook posts that I was scrolling through Facebook, and it's like I don't even know why I do that anymore because it's just a bunch of garbage. But I was going through Facebook, and somebody was saying something about something and talking about some right winger. And now before I go too far, let's get the thing straight. I lean a little bit more, lean a little right, but I'm not like extremist right. Like some of these guys, they're like pushing for war, and they're like bring it on. They're like the heavy tactical, stuff like that. And somehow a thing about like some civil war came up, and they were talking, and he was like, "Yeah, bring it on. It'll be easy fight, no." And then one of the guys from the left came on and said, "What makes you think that Democrats don't have guns, or us on the left don't have guns?" And that kind of got me thinking about that. I was like, you know what? Never underestimate your enemy, because you don't know what your enemy has. They just because they have blue hair and don't know what bathroom to go into or whatever the reason is, doesn't necessarily mean you should underestimate them. I mean, look what they're doing right now. At the time of this recording, we've got Trump's in office, and Elon Musk is heading the Doge, and people are getting paid to go out and cause vandalism to Tesla dealerships and to people that drive Teslas, and they're out there. They've got the funding. They've got people that will do it. Not everybody, I'm not saying everybody on the left, and I'm not saying everybody on the right either. I'm just saying that there's people out there that will do it, that would gladly come and knock you off, from the left or from the right, and don't ever underestimate your enemy. What's up? Sorry to interrupt your video, but I just wanted to show you this little thing that I've got. I wanted to kind of show you some of the equipment I use and some of the gear I use. I'm not sponsored by these guys at all. This is a SOG. It's the Tellus. It's a really good knife. It's fairly lightweight, and it's very, very sturdy. It stays sharp really well. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by these guys at all, nor am I affiliate with these guys. They're not paying me to say anything about this, but it's a very, very, very good knife. I use it a lot. I mean, you can tell I haven't used it a ton, but I've got my EDC knives, but it's a very quality, very sturdy knife. Comes with a Kydex sheath. The clip isn't the best, but just want to show you I am an Amazon affiliate to these. So if you do want one, I'll leave a link below to it. But again, I'm not affiliated by these, nor do I sell them or anything like that. I just leaving you a link to Amazon. If you want one, it's an excellent knife. And if you buy one off that link, you get a good, solid, budget-friendly knife. And you're helping me out with a few pennies. If you feel up for it. If not, that's cool. I just wanted to show you kind of some of the gear I use and give you the opportunity to buy it. I am poor man's preparedness, so I do stuff that doesn't cost so much. This actually was in a one of them subscription boxes like Tac Pack or something. So it actually, costed me whatever the box costed. But like I said, keep it short. There is a link below to an affiliate Amazon if you want one. Again, I'm not sponsored. They're not paying me anything to say this. They're not, I don't sell these. I don't have a store that sells these or anything like that. Just an Amazon affiliate. If you buy one, you get a good quality knife at a reasonably decent price, and you're helping me out with a few pennies. So it's a win-win, So anyway, appreciate you. Hit you back to your show now. And like I said, it doesn't matter what side of the what side of the aisle you're on. If you're a gun-toting patriot that, or if you're a blue-haired LGBTQ or whatever, don't underestimate them. Don't underestimate the left. Don't underestimate the right. It's a civil war is not a good thing, regardless what side you lean on. It's a lot of innocent people are gonna die. Any kind of war, any war, every war. Unfortunately, sometimes war is necessary, but unfortunately, a lot of innocent people die, and that's just the nature of war. And I've done videos on diversity, and I've done videos on unity. So it's like, there's ways around war that we can do, but it's going to take both sides working together. And but right now, that's just not going to happen. It doesn't, it just doesn't work that way, because just the way people are nowadays, if you don't agree with me, you're the enemy. If you don't agree with me, you're the enemy. Why can't we agree to disagree? We can still be civil with each other. We don't necessarily have to be friends and hang out all the time, but we can at least accept that people are different and accept that people think differently and have different opinions. But another thing is, you got to know your enemy. That's the hard part, knowing your enemy. The country is so diverse, you don't know who's who. You don't know who's who. Everybody with so much diversity, you can't tell who's on your side or not. It's hard to tell. I mean, you just walk down the street of a busy street and you don't know who's the good guy, on what side they're on. You don't know who they are. That's why you've got to know who your enemy is, and you've got to know how to tell your enemy. And that's the hard part. And even like in a SHTF situation, whatever, all you preppers are so fixated about bugging out, bug out, bug out, bug out. Not everybody's going to be your enemy, but not everybody's going to be on your side either. If you're on there bugging out, you don't know who's on your side or not. Most cases they're just going to be doing the same thing you're doing, depending on where you live. They're just going to be trying to do the same thing. They're just going to be trying to get their family and their group to safety. But you could stumble across the wrong side, and like I said, don't know who they are, but don't underestimate them. And the best way to kind of do that is area study. Get a study of your area, and that's every single place you go. Area study, situational awareness. That's the best way you can do it, is, study your area, know where you're at, know how to get to there, how to get out of there, how to get, around, how to, and have situational awareness. Like every time I go somewhere, I'm always looking for escape routes. I'm always looking for ways out, what's the quickest way out of here that may not be the front door. I always look for back doors, side doors, whatever. Because if somebody comes running in the front door, I may not have a way out. You could be stuck there and forced to either fight or worse. So I always and I'm always looking at people around me, I may act like I'm not paying attention, just because, I don't want people to think anything of me, but I'm always looking around, paying attention. Gray man, blend in, but always know your surroundings, always know your area. You should always have an area study of the place that you live, just because, your neighbors, your evacuation points, if you're forced to evacuate for whatever reason, your ways around, the back roads, the side roads, where the watering places are to get water, to, all that. It's just that simple. Kind of a shorter video today. Tried to have some notes but anyway, it's just, you can't underestimate your enemy. You don't know what they've got. They're the ones that aren't telling you what they got. If you're talking about the loud ones, the right side with all the patriots and all the gun toters and then you've got the Democrats or the left, or whatever side you want to call it. Republicans, Democrats, right, left, red, blue. I don't even care what side you call it on. Gun controllers, non-gun. It doesn't matter what side, what you want to call the other side. Just the good guys, the bad guys. I mean, whatever side you're on, the other side's the bad guy. But anyway, what I'm getting at is, don't underestimate your enemy. It's the quiet ones, the ones that don't talk about it too much, that you don't know what they've got. You don't know what they've got. They could be loaded. They could be stacked. They could be prepping too. It's not just the right. It's not just the red, right, conservative whatevers that are prepping, that are getting stocked up with guns and ammo and food and water. And it's not just the right. It's not just the MAGA people. It's the others too. They're prepping just as much as we are. And you've got to realize that. And you can't just go out thinking that you're all big and bad and, civil war, it's going to be over quick. I used to think that too, but I used to think, man, we got so much more guns than they do. And maybe we do. But there's also a money thing. If you do go by right and left, they've got people that are funding this stuff. They've got people that are funding, rich people that are funding these mostly peaceful protests, that are, Molotov cocktails through car windows and, and shooting up Tesla dealers, mostly peaceful. But we got people that are funding those. Back in the George Floyd days with the BLM stuff, all of a sudden just randomly they knew there was going to be a protest. So randomly there's bricks in the middle of the road, a big old stack of bricks. How'd those get there? Somebody put them there. Somebody's funding. They've got people that are funding these. And that's the problem, is they've got more money. They've got money involved. The right's not, the right conservatives, we're buying our own stuff. So we're using our own money, our own gear, our own stuff, where the side on the left, they're getting funded by billionaires. We're not getting funded by any billionaires. If you look at it that way, we could potentially be outmatched. And that's the thing. You can't underestimate them. You can't just go and think that we've got way more guns. We've got way more of this. It's possible. But like I said, they're getting funded, and they're funding other people that are doing it for the money. They're doing it because they're getting paid to do it. Here's a gun. Here's a stack of cash. Go have fun. Do whatever you want. And they go and they do whatever they want, and they have fun, and they, have a big old bunch of cash in their pocket. Anyway, think about it. Just something to think about. I'm not trying to tell you what to do or tell you how to think, but I'm just giving you something to think about. And that's kind of what I've been going. I kind of try and see things from kind of both sides a little bit, because unless you know their side of the story, or you look at it from their side, you don't really have an argument for them. You can't really, if you just see your own side, if you only like one of their big things is, well, you just watch Fox News and you're brainwashed. If all you watch is Fox News and that's the only one you believe, you're just as bad as they are for only watching CNN. Kind of get a view of both sides and, make your own conclusions. And that's kind of what I'm trying to think of here, is I'm trying to get kind of both sides of the picture here. Because it kind of makes sense to think about both sides. Think about how they see it, and then think about how you see it. Because they've probably got just as much fight as we do. They've just probably got just as much firepower as we do. They've definitely got more funding than we do. I mean, it is what it is, but don't just go and underestimate. Don't just go and think because you're a right wing conservative patriot gun toting that you've got any kind of upper hand. Because unless you live alone out in the boonies somewhere where you're never gonna come across any people. So it is what it is. Look at the Ukraine and Russia war. When it first started, at least most of us, I was one of them. I'll admit I was one of them. Most of us thought that, this is going to be over. This is going to be over in no time. Russia's going to have this thing done in a couple of months at best. It's been going on for years now. Everybody underestimated Ukraine, but then again, Ukraine's been getting a lot of support from the United States and from all these other European countries to stay in the fight. So there is that, but you never underestimate your enemies. They've got, most of them, the ones that aren't paid for, the ones that aren't funded by these billionaires, they've got just as much skin in the game as you do. They want to win as bad as you do. They want to, they're doing whatever they can to make sure they can not get taken out when the time comes. They're thinking about this too. So don't go and thinking that you're bigger, badder, bolder, better, have more gear, more trained, because you may. I'm not saying you don't. By all means, get training. Don't let that stop you from getting training, and keep that training mindset. But that doesn't necessarily mean that just because you got training, you're good to go. Because they're getting training too. They're training, they're buying, they're gearing up. They've got it too. So anyway, starting to ramble. Don't underestimate your enemy. Click the links below if you feel like it. Donation. At the time of this recording, we're still demonetized, but we're getting closer. About another week or so, and I can start reapplying for that, and hopefully we can get going. But by the time this video gets posted, we might even be monetized, or by the time you're watching it, it could be. But at the time I'm recording it, we're still demonetized. Another 10 days or so, then I can reapply again. And anyway, if you feel like leaving a little donation, there's a link down below to PayPal. If not, and you feel like it, just hit the subscribe button, like the video, share it, leave a comment, let me know what you think about this idea. But no pressure, just if you feel like it. But anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you. We'll see you in the next one.